Welcome to my lair. Nice to meet you. I am Draco. In today's video, we're going to explore a wonderful deck for those who love spell slinging and dealing some damage on the board. Our commander of the day is Judith, the Carnage Connoisseur. Judith appears in Rakdos clubs and street shows as a singer and performance artist, combining dark monologues with bizarre scenes of pain. She tends to appear during the final act in a dramatic reveal, marking the moment when the performance shifts and the antics become painful. She always wears tight black and red leather and flowing velvet curtains. She has perfectly red and perfectly shaped lips. She keeps bloodthirsty dogs and a hellhound named Tessak. Judith coveted the adoration bestowed upon Rakdos by his cultists. She performed 8 shows a week, but the demon received all the praise. She believed the guild needed new leadership and began to gather a small entourage of fans, sycophants, and understudies who echoed her complaints about the guild master. Judith fought in defense of Ravnica during the invasion of the multiverse by New Phyrexia. Always a consummate performer, she protected Ravnica using the same things that always thrilled her fans: courage, charisma, and a wide variety of spiked chains. As the top performer of the cult of Rakdos and owner of the Hellbender nightclub, Judith was openly ambitious about taking Rakdos' place as the head of the Rakdos, hoping to turn it into a cult centered around her performance and personality. Thanks to her relentless ambitions, she made enemies of more than a few members of her guild, to the point of having to avoid certain parts of Rakdos' territory or risk her own life. Let's go! Our commander today is Judith, the Carnage Connoisseur, costing 5 mana, with a 3/4 body. Every time you cast an instant or sorcery spell, choose one. The spell gains Death Touch and Lifelink, or create a 2/2 imp creature with when this creature dies. Deal 2 damage to each opponent. This commander, besides having a solid body as a 3/4, will grant your spells Lifelink and Death Touch to eliminate threats. Additionally, her creature list will greatly maximize each spell you cast, as it will trigger many abilities attached to these creatures. Moreover, for this list, you'll notice that we have many mana accelerations. And the reason for this is as follows. First, because our commander costs 5 mana, which is not insignificant, but mainly because we want to get past those initial turns making as much mana as possible to cast an impressive spell right afterward, the famous setup and payoff. So, we have Everflowing Chalice, which returns half the mana we paid for it in Ramp, Myriad Landscape, and Wayfarer's Bauble, which fetch the basic lands from our deck and put them on the battlefield: Fire Diamond, Rakdos Signet, and Decanter of Endless Water, which generate colored mana, Mind Stone, Prismatic Lens, which generate colorless mana, Honor Worn Shaku, which can tap and then be untapped by other legendary cards to generate even more mana, Stone Speaker Crystal, which generates 2 mana, and can also exile graveyards. Some thematic spellslinger options to accelerate mana, like Strike It Rich, which generates treasures, Visions of Ruin, which also generates treasures as artifacts are sacrificed, Seething Song and Mana Geyser, which will give you a lot of mana, Stormkiln Artist, which creates a lot of treasures, and Runaway Steamkin, which is like the Stormkiln Artist, but a lighter version. With accelerated mana, we need to replenish the cards in our hand, and we'll do this with a mix of card advantage and speed of drawing, where the latter focuses on swapping out plays that aren't good now for new plays. And this is, if not the most important, one of the most important parts of a spellslinger. This type of list that deals with instant and sorcery spells is very susceptible to stalling, and we increasingly need cards to expand our range of plays, which is great in a deck designed to cast multiple things on your turn in your opponent's turn. First, we have Ambition's Cost, Siphon Mind, and Inspired Tinkering, 3 cards that draw and fill our hand. Ignite the Future fills our hand and can also be cast from our graveyard. Ecstatic Beauty, which is 3 mana to draw 3 in this list, as we plan to play it and the cards it exiles in the same turn. Lidless Gaze, which technically draws 4 cards for us and has flashback. Plumb the Forbidden, which can sacrifice all our imps, dealing a lot of damage to our opponents, drawing cards, and technically dealing half the damage to us, as we lose 1 life for each card. Commune with Lava, which is our draw X, but in red. And Bolus's Citadel, which is our big bomb, allowing us to play things from the top of our library, paying life, and that's where Judith can gain it back for us. We also have Pirate's Pillage, Unexpected Windfall, and Seize the Spoils, which create treasures and allow us to discard and draw cards. Faithless Looting and Thrill of Possibility also do this, but without the treasures. We have Light Up the Stage, which can easily cost 1 mana in this deck, allowing us to draw more cards, although it's not terrible to pay 3 mana either. We have Collective Defiance, Change of Fortune, and Fateful Showdown, 3 cards that discard our hand and draw a new one, really keeping our plays circulating. And to wrap things up, we have Read the Bones, which lets us scry 2 and draw 2 cards. After accelerating mana and drawing cards, how about Unleashing Chaos, plunging everything into fire and blood? For that, we need to keep our commander on the board, and believe me, you will become a target after all these plays made so far, and your opponents won't want to leave a Judith on the board, knowing she has access to such powerful spells that can literally wipe out creature decks for minimal investment. Seriously, there are things that deal damage to all opponents' creatures for just 1 mana. Here, for example, I have 6 cards that should help with the situation of protecting our commander amidst this mountain of blood: Armor of Shadows and Professor's Warning, which give indestructible to the target creature; Undying Evil, Undying Malice, and Supernatural Stamina, which return the creature to the battlefield when it dies; plus Swiftfoot Boots, which give hexproof and haste to the equipped creature. All these cards will help us keep Judith on the board. And in the case of those that prevent the creature from dying or bring it back after it dies, we can do global damage and keep her on the board. Such globals, for example, Chain Reaction, which is almost the Wrath of God for red; Tectonic Hazard, which deals 1 damage to each enemy creature; Fiery Confluence, where with Judith we can choose the damage mode just once and the creatures will already die, and then you can choose the other 2 modes 2 more times; Volcanic Torrent, which deals damage to only enemy creatures and has Cascade, a mini-bomb. Let's also include some targeted removal. Abrade, to deal with artifacts and creatures; Feed the Swarm, which is for dealing with enchantments and also creatures; Smash to Dust, which is targeted for artifacts and global for creatures; Rakdos Charm, which is very versatile; and Chaos Warp, the red staple that can't be missing, as it removes anything. And now that we've protected our commander and removed enemy threats, let's finish with some synergies here that not only facilitate our commander's work but can substitute her in some capacity, reducing our dependence on a priority target on the board. First, we have Young Pyromancer and Sedgemoor Witch, which are our 2 other sources of creature tokens. Fiery Inscription, Gutter Snipe, and Torwalkie the Younger, which deal 2 damage, just like our imps. Firebrand Archer, Erebor Flamesmith, and Thermo Alchemist, which deal 1 damage per instant and/or sorcery. Dualcaster Mage, which can copy one of our spells, for example, a Mana Geyser, and you create a catastrophic state for your opponents to deal with. We have Insult / Injury, where one side deals damage to a creature and its controller, new and great with Lifelink and Death Touch, but the other side is even better because it doubles damage dealt to our opponents, which is perfect with the imps. Finally, we have Past in Flames and Invoke Calamity, perfect cards to cast our instants and sorceries from our graveyard. Past in Flames even rewards you for all that gameplay where you draw and discard, so it's perfect here. And we have Woe Strider because I felt that another card to sacrifice the imp would be great, and with this one on the board, we can turn all those tokens into scrying and damage, and this creature also has escape, so even if it dies, your opponents won't be rid of it for long. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave your like, click on the bell, and subscribe to the channel. The deck list will be in the video description. See you next time. Thanks!